Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's energy update and collective reading for March 13th through to March 20th. Thank you so much for joining me. I apologize for not showing up last week. I unfortunately came down with a flu, so I was out of commission for really until yesterday. I finally got my energy back and been feeling more myself. So thank you for your patience. But I'm so excited to be back here. Finally having some energy, finally being able to get back to what I love to do, which is doing these readings and helping you connect more. So this week we do have a really beautiful week ahead, and we're continuing that beautiful Pisces energy that we entered. And it's so wonderful to see how many of us are taking advantage of this time to really connect with our divine feminine energy. I actually just did a whole podcast about that. So if you're curious about that theme and want to go into it more, please check it out on my podcast, The Spiritualist, and it's our most recent episode on embracing the divine feminine. And I'm really seeing that theme come in this week as well. And so many of us are needing to learn how to work with this energy. And if you're unfamiliar with your divine feminine and divine masculine energies, I'd really encourage you to take some time to dig in a little deeper and learn more about them. Every single person contains these energies, and it's so important for us to bring harmony to these energies this week. So I'm seeing this continue from last week and the last couple weeks into this week as well, where we are really finding harmony, and we're allowing more of this ebb and flow to come in with this balance of action and flow. So it's really, really beautiful. So to go into our first theme that we're really moving into this week is really doing what we love. And this is so beautiful because once more we're getting this call back to the divine feminine of reigniting our passions, reigniting what makes us us, that makes us have fun in life, and really cultivating that playfulness, that curiosity, that enjoyment. And what was really coming up for this week is to really dive into that. So what is it that you love to do? And how can you start allowing yourself to do more of what you love? So what I wrote here was do what you would love to do, harnessing profound love in all its truth and valor. And what does that mean to you? So this huge exploration that's happening of love, and I really want to say self-love here as well. So this week we're really being called to start cultivating self-care, self-love, and diving into what that actually looks like on a daily basis for ourselves in daily action, and exploring that word, love. Like, what does love mean to you? What does it feel like to you? What are the actions that you do or take that help put you in a state of love, that fill your cup, that make you feel yourself, your most self? And so what I was really getting was some visuals of things that I myself really find enjoyable. And sometimes it's the most simplest of things. So when I was channeling, they were showing me with my morning coffee. And so I like to make like my own little elixir in the morning with coffee and medicinal mushrooms and, cinnamon and all these different things to make it a bit healthier. And I really enjoy that moment when I can just sit by my window and have those first few sips of my elixir and just enjoy the present moment. And my absolute favorite time of year is when that snow first hits and it's just coming down, and it's so magical and so beautiful. And those are little moments that fill my cup for the day and that make me feel gratitude, love, happiness, joy, fulfillment in just doing that small action and doing it every day. And I find it sometimes the most simplest things that we can do that we actually enjoy and cherish the most. So it's like, what is that for you? And how can you really start prioritizing those things, even those little things in your day that just add so much joy and beauty and peace to your human experience. So this week, we're really being called to dive deeper into that. What does that look like for you? And how can you prioritize that so much more in your life? And really prioritizing doing what you actually love. Because I'm hearing so many of us have held back on our happiness. We've held ourselves back from engaging in things that actually make us feel good. And that actually is self-punishment. And so many of us have learned that this sort of discipline is healthy, but we're going into a toxic dynamic here. It's very easy to cross that line of discipline, of self-discipline, and actually withholding good from yourself. So we've really been taught this struggle and strive mentality, this strict discipline of withholding ourselves, and that's what really is almost glorified these days. To become successful, you need to work hard, whatever the story is. It's like, why are you putting off your dreams? Why are you stalling yourself from even the little simple pleasures in life? And so they're really bringing this attention to the sacral chakra. And I feel like the sacral chakra has really been highlighted the past while for us to really start analyzing, like, what is the health of your sacral chakra? And for those of you who are not familiar with the chakra system, the sacral chakra is the second chakra. It's represented by the color orange, and it's all about pleasure. It's all about how we create, how we experience life. And if we are actually withholding pleasure from ourselves, we can actually throw this chakra out of balance. And what's so cool is the mantra for this sacral chakra is I flow. So once again, like, what's more divine feminine than the sacral chakra? It's very symbolized by the womb space as well. And of course, this translates to any gender, but the womb is that space for creation. And that's exactly what the sacral chakra is all about. Our creativity, our exploration, how willing we are to explore, to have fun. And that is where our inner child sits. And it was so interesting because when I first started doing Reiki, I thought that was so fascinating, because when I started working on other people and working on clients, and even myself, when I would do my self-Reiki and self-healing, whenever I came to the sacral chakra, it was like I would get a visual of the inner child. And I thought, wow, that is so amazing how that correlates. Like, how are we with our inner child work? Is our inner child happy? Is it playful? Are we fulfilling and meeting that child's needs? And all of us have that inner child within us that we need to connect with. So this week, this is what we are encouraged to do. How can you do what you love? How can you connect with your passions, with what excites you in life, and start creating this new chapter in your life with that enthusiasm? So we might have some fear and trepidation that might come in when we start doing this, because it is unfamiliar for us. So many of us have that dream of just living life on our terms. And when we actually start realizing we can, and we start realizing the power we actually have now, and we start taking those steps, as empowering as that feels, it can also feel scary, because it's like, we've never done that before. We've been only told that story through conditioning and programming, that we can't be powerful, that we need to hold ourselves back, that we need to do life this way instead of your way. And when we actually shatter that illusion, it's so powerful. And so with that, don't be afraid, allow yourself to really sit down with those fears and go, okay, how can I start understanding why this fear is coming up for me, and how I am actually holding myself back because of fear, and where I might be letting fear make decisions for me instead of making my own decisions from a place of empowerment. It's really powerful when we start changing the narrative and we start taking our power back, and it makes lasting change. And this is what I'm really seeing come forward. It's so important for us to start living life independently, to start living life on our terms. And this week I'm seeing us do that. It's like, how do I want to experience this human life? How do I want to enjoy it? And how can I prioritize even those little things and bypass the excuses you tell yourself that you can't? It's like, there's no excuse not to enjoy your life. You can still go through tough things and also enjoy your life at the same time. There's not just one or the other. Life is a beautiful combination of both. So how can we really tap into the beauty that is around us and prioritize it? So from there, we have this question: how can we start cultivating more gratitude? How can we start cultivating the qualities that we want to emulate and the emotions we want to feel in our daily experience? And we have this reminder that love trumps fear. So whatever comes up this week, to come back to that state of what is loving for you, and realizing that love can beat fear every single time if we allow it to, if we allow that love in our lives. So we have this beautiful question posed. It's like, how can we start becoming the person who lives their life empowered, who lives their life in love, in beauty? And it's like, how can you become that person that you want to be? And start now, because I'm really hearing there's no more waiting. Now is the time to start really living life on your terms. And it starts the moment you choose it starts. It can start right now. So what I'm seeing is some of us make lists this week and goals and aspirations, and actually writing down what we want. And not just the superficial stuff, not just like, I want a new car, I want this. It's like, no, we want to go to the source of what we truly desire. And that might require some soul searching. That might require getting in touch with your inner child and that sacral chakra again, right? What gives me pleasure? What makes me feel good in my life, right? And going to the source. So, what I'm really seeing is focus on the emotions and the qualities that you want to start building up. So the advice here, it's like, what do you admire in other people? What is a quality that you want to be known for? And how can you start cultivating that quality? And I'm just seeing brainstorming. So going into that, like, okay, if I want to be known to be a loving person, an accepting person, how can I start making the course corrections now? Where am I not a loving or accepting person? Have I put limits on self-love? Have I made myself the exception to that rule? You know, that's a very classic one that a lot of us do, is we become biased against ourselves. We make ourselves the exception to love when we actually believe everyone's worthy of love. So it's like, where are we needing to course correct so we can start building those qualities that we want to be known for, that we want to feel good about within ourselves, becoming the person who's truest to us. So we're almost like, they're showing me a shedding, so a removal of all the stories, all the conditioning, all of the things that have actually distracted us from being ourselves, that have distracted us from being in our power and have blinded us to our power. And we're seeing what's the truth underneath all those layers of falsehoods. We're getting to the meat of who we really are and who we're here to be. And you are here to be you in your full authenticity. You know, so many of us get worked up about purpose. And what I really want to clarify, and what I've been really learning and understanding, even in my own spiritual journey, it's like, yes, your purpose is very simple, and it's very important. And it is simple. It is you being the most authentic version of yourself. So whatever it is that you're called to do, do it. Because that is being you. That is expressing yourself in an authentic way with what lights you up. That is what you're here to do. Point blank, simple. Whatever you are called to do, that's authentic and so true to you, then that is what you're here to do. And it's finding purpose even in the little things, because the minute you put yourself in a vibration of fun, of happiness, of joy, of love, well, those are the highest vibrations you can be in. So the more you're in those vibrations, the more you do what you love, the more you heal yourself, the more you heal the environment around you, the more you put out those healing frequencies to the world. And all of our frequencies as a collective matter big time. Every single one of us has the power to contribute loving frequency or the opposite. So what we do, even with our daily choices, all adds up and matters to how we are living our lives, to how we are helping the world. And sometimes we have to just simplify it and go, wow, okay, maybe I'm not here to be the president, but I'm here to change the frequency of Earth. I'm here to help raise the vibration by being the most authentic person I can be. And I'm here and recognizing that you are here. Your soul chose you to express your uniqueness. So I'm really feeling like we need to impress this point this week, where it's like recognizing how even the littlest things that bring you joy, you should be doing. And no more listening to that lie that we're fed, that you need to withhold yourself, that you need to be disciplined, or you need to be this or that. And to the point of toxicity, that is not healthy. We need to have balance. So once more, we're welcoming the divine feminine back within our lives. We're welcoming the ease and grace, the flow, the beauty, and recognizing that everything will happen as it should. We don't need to stress. We don't need to push. We don't need to worry. All you need to worry about, or I shouldn't even say worry, but prioritize, is yourself and your love in life. It's so amazing when we simplify it that way. And it takes that pressure off. It's like, oh, right. Like, wow, what if I did just remove all those stories and self-judgments and judgment of others, and I just lived? What would that be like? Let your curiosity take you there and really honestly assess your excuses of why you're not. And sometimes it can be very humbling. It can be very eye-opening, because it could be just what other people have told you that's holding you back. So really take time to assess, what is holding me back from being me, from doing what I love, and how can I start making those course corrections? So then we have this amazing theme of healing. So I'm seeing a lot of healing happen this week, and it's all through high vibration. So it's absolutely beautiful. We're healing through love. We're healing through self-respect, from prioritizing ourselves, being in those higher frequencies and energies. That is what's so healing for us. And it's not through self-punishment that we're healing. Once again, it's not through force, through struggle, through I should. It's through I love. I love myself so much that I'm going to shed these old energies. I love myself so much that I'm going to release what I need to release, because that is respecting me. That is loving me. That is worshiping the beautiful body and soul that I am, and having that respect. And so what I'm seeing is the shedding of the past that's happening as well. So we might have the past revisit us this week. We might have some old wounds or hurts or cycles. I'm kind of hearing a lot of us are releasing cycles. So there might be this remembrance of like how uncomfortable that was, what you went through, events that hurt you, people. I'm really feeling relationships are highlighted this week. So people perhaps you had to say goodbye to, people you had to cut ties to. And coming to the humanness in that, because I feel like so many of us were like, okay, yes, I know I needed to do that. I know I needed to do what was right for me and it feels good. But also allow yourself to feel the emotions that didn't feel good in that scenario. Because I'm kind of seeing some of us might try to bypass and go into more toxic positivity than be willing to feel how we really feel. And it was funny, I actually watched this reel recently and I want to read it. I screenshotted the main message because I thought it was so on par, and I just have to find where it is. Here we go. And I thought it was super powerful. So the reel was, I can cut you off and still love you. I can stop speaking to you and still care for you. I can let you go and still wish you the best. If I leave you alone, it's not to be bitter or petty. It is for my own good. If I let you go, it's because I need to be happy, with or without you in my life. And I thought those words were so powerful because I feel like so many of us can relate to that. Throughout our past or even more recently, I feel like so many of us have had to change relationships or have to let people go that were no good for us. And sometimes this can happen like that Tower card in tarot, that very striking, unexpected event that just opened our eyes to the truth. But it doesn't negate that we still had a relationship with that person, that we still loved that person or those individuals, or we had our emotions there. And those emotions don't just disappear through that change and through that shift, and they need to be honored. And so what I'm hearing this week is it's so important to, yes, move through love and allow yourself, of course, to celebrate your accomplishments and how far you've come and your strength in overcoming these challenges. But don't bypass the hard feelings as well, the truth of what you do feel. And that can look like knowing someone is no good for you and still wishing them well and still wanting to love them and still feeling that desire and that hurt and that disappointment that it didn't work out, and allowing those emotions to surface and feel them in their authenticity. All right, this is so important because as we create these fresh chapters and as we start dedicating ourselves to love and loving ourselves well, that means we have to also honor how we feel and to recognize that this was for our highest good. But as these chapters have closed, it's okay to mourn them, you know? And I loved how in that reel, it just really gave that perspective of like, yeah, you know, it did hurt. It sucked. You know, I can still miss that person and love that person, but know they're no good for me. And with that, it's like having that opportunity to say goodbye. So I'm really hearing this week, we're saying a lot of goodbyes to the past. We're releasing and shedding these old stories, these old hurts, and we're honoring the emotions and how we actually feel about those endings. And really allowing ourselves to go into those things. So I'm seeing some releases happen this week. I'm seeing that we're understanding how we really feel. We're getting that recognition to those emotions that perhaps we've been avoiding. And I feel like a lot of it is because so much good and so much change has been coming in. And as wonderful as that is, we try to prioritize those feelings over what we really feel. So it's once again this kind of combination of both energies coming in and existing at one time. It's like the sadness of the goodbye, the disappointment, the hurt, but also the excitement for the future and the beauty of what's coming in now that you've cleared so much of those toxic things. So it's really navigating this transitional phase and loving yourself and giving yourself the compassion you need every single step of the way. So really harmonizing that sacral chakra and working with the emotions, working with your inner child is really, really highlighted. And with this, I'm seeing this cultivation of love for our bodies this week. So once again, recognizing where we've gone wrong in the past, where we haven't prioritized ourselves, and we're recognizing the self-care and love that we really need and in their true form. So once again, not what we think we need, but what we actually need. And once more, brainstorm that. Like, what self-care works for me that I actually can engage in? Not just the action, but being present in it, right? And how am I doing with my health? Is there improvements that need to be made? Am I eating well? Do I feel good after what I eat? Am I sleeping well? What are my sleep habits? Am I meeting my basic needs? How am I respecting my body, my emotional health, my well-being? And am I prioritizing people and friendships that also make me feel good? So this is all in terms of health, right? Because good friendships add to our health. They help raise our vibration. There's an exchange of energy that happens, and we feel that lift in our energies when we're around people that light us up. So I'm really hearing our health is actually really dramatically affected by the people and the energies that we are regularly around and engaging with. So I'm seeing some of us need to get this awareness. How are other people's energies affecting my energy? And how can I start really being selective in who I spend time with? And I'm also hearing some of us need to go and have friend time, need to have connection time, because a lot of us have once again been neglecting and isolating. So I'm hearing get out of your isolation, move yourself and get out there, enjoy people, because we're here to have connection. We learn through connection. We live through connection in so many ways. So where are you cutting off connection? So I'm really hearing prioritize your friendships this week, and those soul connections will really help with your health. And from there, we have this encouragement to start building your life on your terms. So cultivating a life plan of sorts. So allowing the ease and grace, but having a direction. Okay, so I'm hearing it's time to explore our options. Once more, circling back to our main theme, what lights up your soul? What makes you feel in a state of love, gratitude, happiness, right? And so really take the time to soul search. What is it I enjoy? And start exploring your options of what directions and these, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, essentially options. What options are available to you now? Because I'm seeing so many of our lives have been changed. So much about our lives have been shifting, and it's all to do with this beautiful collective energy that's helping us shake things up and reanalyze, and almost like giving us this gift of a fresh start. So once again, explore your options, really start being honest about your motivations, and if they're fear-based, so it's like when you're moved to make a change, is it fear that's motivating the change, or is it love? And really being mindful of checking in and making decisions from that space of love. What will really light you up? What's really going to help you live life on your terms? And how can you start doing that? So I'm seeing a lot of us making decisions this week that are more in alignment with who we are, that are more in alignment with the person we want to become. And they're almost giving me this suggestion here for us to actually picture our higher self or the person we want to be and putting ourselves in the shoes of that person and then making the decision we need to make. So hypothetically, if we were to become the best version of ourselves, what decision would the best version of you make? Would they be settling? Would they be catering to fear? Or would they be acting out of self-love and self-respect? And then it really gives the clarity of the decisions you're making and really helps you see where you're acting from at this point in time. And with this, we're getting this exploration of how do you want to show up in the world? What can you do to make a difference? How are you being called to become a leader in your life? How are you being called to light work, to be yourself in full authenticity? And I'm seeing we have a ton of support that's coming in this week, and I feel like we're going to get a lot of clarity around this, but it requires that we trust ourselves, that we go into our intuition and really listen, trusting you are being guided. Okay, so this unification of all parts of ourselves play a role. This uniting of the feminine and the masculine coming together and really making sure that we're now going to live life in a balanced way. Super critical. So I'm seeing here a lot of us are going to have our eyes open to new avenues, to different things that we want to pursue. And we're starting to really listen to the voice of our souls and our intuition, which is so amazing. And with this, we actually get this enlightenment to the power of our minds. So I'm really hearing we need to once more check ourselves. Are we using the power of our minds to our advantage or disadvantage? So once again, they're showing me some fears trying to sneak in and sabotage us this week. So be very mindful. Where is your mind going? What are the daily things you're telling yourself, that you're thinking of, that you are speaking about? Is it what you want? And if not, it's time to recognize where you might be trying to sabotage yourself, where you might be holding on to old ways of being that no longer resonate with who you really are and who you are becoming. So I'm hearing release stress in favor of love. Recognize your humanness. Allow yourself to make mistakes, to make wrong turns, and recognize that there's really no such thing. There's no perfect roadmap for our lives. And as much as we can depend on our guides to direct us, there's a point where they'll go, you got to make decisions yourself. You have to make the turns. You have to make the choices because this is your life and you're here to live it. So that's when it's so important for us to get in tune with our own wisdom, with our own divinity that lives within us and go, okay, what is resonating for me? What choices and decisions am I being called to make from inside me? And how can I release the worry and this fear that I'm going to mess up? Because that's a part of life. And I'm not going to let fear make my choices anymore. I'm not going to let fear of making a mistake and not being perfect or fear of being judged hold me back from what really I want to do. What's loving for me? And loving your human experience, your human journey. It's so beautiful, this recognition of ourselves that we're starting to develop here. And I'm seeing a lot of us open up to this strong desire to help other people. And it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm seeing so many of us really open up to our light working this week, to how we're here and why we want to help, what our motivation is, how we want to show up in the world and make a difference, and how we need to start embracing that we have these gifts and abilities that are unique to us, and how we're here to share that, to express that. So I'm actually seeing this week we're getting this guidance to help other people. If you get in a state of fear, if you get worried, if you get anxious, start shifting the focus from yourself to how you can love other people, to how you can help other people in your life, and shift that focus to helping other people. And I'm hearing when you do that, you actually start discovering the answers to your own questions. You start recognizing your purpose. And once more, we don't want to confuse this message as I'm here to only help other people. No, you will help other people simply by being yourself. You will help raise people's vibrations by being, once again, in your unique love, happiness, and space of joy. So once again, do not move into that toxic mentality where it's everyone before me. No. So what I'm seeing is we're starting to help people, but in balance, in harmony. So we're no longer pouring from an empty cup. We're supporting and we're getting support in exchange. So once again, we're mastering the experience we want to have, because nobody wants to give everything away and have no appreciation. You know, that's a recipe for all of us to just go, I'm done. You're not appreciating me. You're not seeing me. You're not valuing me. And I'm hearing that story needs to come to an end. So we need to close the door to that cycle and embrace helping people on our terms. And when we do that, we start recognizing how we can actually do this work, this light working that we're called to do, without sacrificing our own needs, without compromising our authenticity. So they're giving me an example of a practitioner and a client coming and saying, well, I'd like you to do the session this way for me. But that's not how you resonate. That's not how you offer the session. And perhaps a few years prior, you would have been like, yep, no problem. I will cater to you. I will make sure everything is how you want it because you're the client, you're the customer, however you want to address the scenario. But now I'm hearing it's like, well, no, because that is not how I do things. That is not how I resonate with giving a session, right? It's the same with a photographer. We can use that example. When you go to a photographer, you go because they have that creative eye. They know how to do the job. And if you look at their portfolio, you will see how they photograph, their forte. You wouldn't go to, a photographer who strictly does nature and landscapes and go, well, I want you to do my family portrait. Because it's like, well, that's not what I specialize in. That's not what I personally enjoy. That's not my creativity. It's like, want me to photograph your pets? Sure, right? But there is that change, that shift. Then when we start realizing we can't constantly cater to everybody else, when we start having that self-respect and allow ourselves to have boundaries and allow ourselves to say no to things that don't fulfill us, that don't do it for you, and it's like pure empowerment. It's absolutely amazing. This balance is coming in, and this is so much around the heart chakra this week. We're learning to give and receive in a very different way than we have previously. We're showing up on our terms, and it's absolutely beautiful. So they gave me this mantra this week: I am deserving. So where do you need to apply those words more fully in your life? Where do you need to start acting more deserving? Where do you need to start believing you're more deserving? And how can you start really working with the heart chakra to willingly accept from others as well? So this was another huge thing with the heart chakra that was coming up, was willingly accepting offerings of love, gifts, and this exchange in energy. So once more, they're giving me the example of someone who's pouring out their cup all the time and never having it refilled. So with that, it's like you kind of get stuck in that cycle. You get used to it where it's like, well, I just don't expect anything in return now. But what I'm hearing, it's like, but you should. And that might feel really weird in the beginning. If someone's like, oh my gosh, like I want to now treat you, or I want to give you a gift, or I want to express my appreciation, or even when they give you a compliment, it's like, how do you respond to that? Are you shying away from receiving that? Are you closing yourself off? Do you feel awkward? How does your body physically react to someone saying you're beautiful or thank you so much for all that you do? Like, how do you actually receive? And do you receive well? And so I'm hearing you might have that awkward period where you're like, this is super weird and I'd have not experienced this in what felt like years. So there might be that adjustment, but I'm really hearing it's time to see you're deserving too. It's time to see that you matter too, that you are loved and are lovable, and that it's time to open the gates to your heart to receive those things willingly, gladly, excitedly. So this week I'm hearing, seize every opportunity you can to receive back. We need to bring this balance in. Life needs to start being about you. And if you don't let it, then we can't really expect the universe to keep giving us what we keep denying. So once again, how open are you to receiving, and how can you allow yourself to receive willingly with ease and grace? And with this, I'm seeing a lot of us need to start giving to ourselves, celebrating ourselves, complimenting ourselves, treating ourselves to things we deserve. Okay? And of course, this all needs to be in balance, but I'm hearing it's time to celebrate you. It's time to celebrate the triumphs you've had. It's time to celebrate all that you bring to this world. And it's absolutely amazing because once more, they're showing me these challenges that a lot of us have had to go through recently, almost like this little final test that I feel like a lot of us have had, like the universe testing our resolve, testing if we're really committed, those final cycles needing to be closed off, and are we going to choose to do it this time? And you might have noticed some people might not have. Some people in your life might not have chosen to learn their lessons and close the door to that chapter of toxicity, of accepting less than. But I'm hearing that a lot of us have chose differently. A lot of us have stepped up and we're doing the work, and we're learning to accept life on life's terms as well. So it's like maybe things didn't happen the way you planned or wanted, but we're starting to cultivate a greater understanding of why. And once more, allowing the perspectives of life is happening for me as opposed to me. So taking the empowered perspective. And with this, I'm seeing this cultivation of forgiveness that's coming in. So I'm seeing this week, once again, some old relationships, some old baggage that might rear their heads, and we might have to revisit those emotions of how we really feel. But we're going to come ultimately to this full circle moment where we're no longer allowing past grievances to block our joy. We're no longer allowing past grievances or disagreements to overshadow our heart anymore and block our heart. And we're starting to recognize that we don't deserve to keep holding on to this baggage, that we deserve to live happy, fulfilling lives, no matter what happened in the past. So forgiveness really is the gift that we give ourselves. And I'm hearing this week to really bring closure to these past cycles, we need to come to this state of forgiveness. And once more, take as long as you need to do that. That looks different for everybody. And we're approaching things from a motivation of love, not because we have to or we should, because I'm seeing some of us apply timelines to when we should have forgiven and let go. Let all of that leave, okay? Don't hold yourself to that timeline. Allow yourself to cultivate forgiveness in your time. Once again, this is honoring the divine ebb and flow within ourselves, within the world, within that divine feminine energy. But come to that understanding that this is only hurting you holding on to these things. They're not worthy of you anymore. They never were. And now it's time to wake up to that truth of what blessings came in disguise. So the advice here was cultivation of gratitude for what you experienced. And we're getting the big picture and learning the larger lessons learned. So you might need to spend some time journaling this week, and I'm seeing that be highlighted, where we go into what hurt us, the experience itself. And as we let those things pour out, I'm hearing we're getting a lot of clarity. Why it happened, what you learned from it. You're seeing why it happened for you, not to you. And we're coming to this understanding that really you're the one who won. Okay? And I'm not saying that in a petty way, but it's the truth. Anybody who will not grow with you, who wants to stay in a state of negativity, recognize that you are the one who won in this scenario, because you're not staying there. You're not accepting toxicity in your life anymore. You're choosing to instead raise your vibration, see your worth, and come back to love. Whereas these individuals or these circumstances, whatever this was for you, they're choosing to stay in that negativity. They're choosing to stay in that lower vibrational state and essentially stay miserable. You know, I don't know about you, but in most of my experiences when I've had to let people go, it's because they're choosing to stay in that state. They're unwilling to change. They're unwilling to open up, to show up for me the way I showed up for them, right? And there's all these reasons, and we can have empathy for that. But it's coming to this full circle understanding how staying there and staying in that state would only keep you stuck, would only keep you in the past. And now the most loving thing for you is to choose yourself and to move on. And that, once more, does not mean we have to hate the person. We have to hate what happened. We have to be angry. No, we can still love those people from afar. We can still wish them the best. But we're choosing love this time. Love for ourselves. And we're learning to make ourselves this priority. It's a time for free-flowing love and harmony. This is what was channeled. This is the time for us to return to love. So do what you need to do to come back to oneness in your life, to come back to that state of forgive and let go. You don't have to stay in those vibrations anymore. You are so worth more than that. So remember that and cultivate gratitude for those experiences, even if they were hard. You came out stronger. And with this, we have recognition of all the strength that you have, recognition of all of who you've become, all of who you are, and really understanding that you are the brightest, most empowered version of yourself now. And it's absolutely amazing. All I keep hearing is like a thunderous applause. So I feel like so many of us have fought so hard to get to where we are, and you need to be commended for that. So all of your guides right now are like, yeah, like they're just, they're so happy and proud of you, and you should feel the same about yourself. So anybody who's listening to this recording, I really feel you have triumphed. You have come so far. So please give yourself a moment of praise. Give yourself a moment of applause. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate the love in your life, the joy, where you are in your journey. Because I'm seeing some of us haven't fully honored how far we've come. And it's so important this week that we do that. So what I wrote here was self-love is here. Celebrate. Angels, guides, rejoicing, celebrating with you. So with this celebration of self, I'm actually seeing this step forward into leadership. We're starting to get some sort of recognition. I'm seeing a lot of us start to receive outward validation as well. And it's not that we need it, because I'm hearing we're learning how to do that for ourselves, but we're having the courage now to stand and step out into the spotlight. We're ready to be unapologetic about who we are. We're no longer letting people tear us down. We're no longer bothered by other people's opinions or how they view us. We're coming to this full allowance of being who we are on our terms. And we're reclaiming these lost pieces of ourselves that we lost in the past. We're bringing them back. We're becoming whole. And with this, we're seeing this huge, once again, full circle healing that is happening. And I'm seeing a lot of this healing happen in past lives, in our karma, and we're tipping the scales in our favor. So we're getting a lot of greater understanding that's coming through this week, where lots of insights are coming to light, and a lot around our purpose and what now resonates for you. So when I channeled this, I heard somebody say, pack your bags. I heard this voice very distinctly, pack your bags. And I thought that was hilarious because it really just drove home, like, get ready. Get ready. There is an adventure that is starting, that has happened, that is beginning. And it's like, get ready, pack your bags. Life is about to speed up. Things are about to snowball. They're about to happen, and in the best of ways. So I'm really hearing this energy of like travel, adventure, fun, and exploration. And I feel like this is going to be an exploration of ourselves and also the big wide world that we live in, this big, beautiful universe. And I'm seeing this childlike enthusiasm that's really coming in to spearhead these energies. So take a trip this week. Allow yourself to get a taste of adventure. Get that excitement flowing. Because I'm really hearing that all of these feats that we have overcome and we've really triumphed over have really brought us to where we get to celebrate now. We get to really just experience life, and it's amazing. So I'm also seeing this dip into once more our connections this week. So really enjoy your connections. Allow yourself to cultivate more love, more vulnerability with who you trust. And I'm seeing a lot of these soul connections drawing closer. So heart-to-heart conversations. I'm seeing acceptance. I'm seeing love. I'm seeing nurturing come in. And we're actually allowing ourselves to be nurtured by others. We're allowing assistance from others. We're allowing love into our lives. We're no longer blocking it. We're no longer putting it off. We're claiming what we actually should be claiming every day. And with this, I'm seeing this full vulnerability. So we might be having conversations this week that really reveal who we are to others. And once more, we've cultivated this leadership. We've cultivated this confidence. So don't shy yourself away from expressing yourself. And what I wrote here was claiming power through our speech. Everything out on the table, nothing left out or unsaid. So I'm seeing once more, we're becoming very confident in what we want and claiming what we want. So saying and being clear on our desires. So if there's conversations you need to have this week, have confidence in what you need. Have confidence in what you desire, and don't be afraid to speak your needs or speak your desires, because you're here to really start claiming what you want out of your life. So we're fearlessly stepping into this leadership role, and once more, we have so much support. So I actually wrote down some main guides that really wanted to come through this week, and I'm going to go through them with us. So what we have is Archangel Michael, who really wanted to show up this week with helping us release. So when we're coming over obstacles, when we're overcoming the resistance to love, when we are letting go of cycles, these negative cycles, even in our health, perhaps even how we view our finances, any of these fears, I'm hearing Archangel Michael really wants to step in. So he was showing up, and I could feel his presence very strongly as I was doing this reading. And with that, he actually showed me this beautiful green frog leaping forward. So with that, I feel like he's going to be helping cut cords this week, helping us remove negativity and really drop into empowerment. And the green frog is very symbolistic, symbolizes prosperity and leaping forward. So we're getting a lot of positive forward movement, and the color green is a very abundant color. So with that, it's like expect good luck. Okay, so we're getting a lot of luck is on our side this week. And then I had this beautiful goddess of nature called Sylvie or Sylvia. And she's this beautiful Greek goddess of the forest. And what she kept showing me were these beautiful lakes and streams and rivers flowing through the forest, and this beautiful visual of allowing life to flow. So she's really coming in to help us connect more with our natural nature and state and helping us flow through life. So I'm seeing a lot of fertility, a lot of abundance this week, a lot of peace and prosperity once more being highlighted here through a lot of the visuals she was sending me, but really wants to be present to help us this week. So call upon this beautiful Greek goddess Sylvie to help do this. If you're struggling with the flow, if you're struggling with letting go, with being abundant in your life, come back to that recognition of nature. And I feel like she's really going to help you do that, because everything in nature comes in divine timing. Everything in nature blooms, blossoms, and flourishes naturally. And so it's like, remember you were safe. Remember you were loved. Remember you will bloom where you're planted. And it's allowing that process to unfold. So really connect with nature, and I feel like connect with this goddess energy, because it'll really help you tap into that divine feminine within. Next, we have Archangel Haniel. So absolutely beautiful energy here. Haniel is very feminine as well, very feminine energy, and is coming forward to help us really cultivate our joy and once more expand our talents, our abilities, and help us really uncover them. So if you've been struggling with like purpose or with what you really want to do or what you really enjoy, if you're not even sure, call an Archangel Haniel to help you. Okay, so I'm really hearing that this beautiful archangel is going to help us uncover our true passions and purpose. I also saw a lot of turquoise energy and light. So this turquoise aura, be very mindful of seeing that, because then you'll know Haniel's with you. And this beautiful turquoise, a little bit about that color that was so interesting is turquoise represents unique individuality. And what have we been talking about all the past few weeks? Cultivating individuality, cultivating authenticity, right? And it's also a very spiritual color. So seeking truth, seeking spiritual knowledge. And Archangel Haniel has a lot to do with the moon. And interestingly enough, so does Goddess Sylvie. And I thought that was so interesting how the two correlated very well with the moon energy. So the moon is very symbolic of our intuition, of the unknown, right? And the moon illuminates the darkness. So once more, I'm seeing working with the moon cycles and the phases of the moon might be very ideal for us this week, and also going deeper into our intuition. And both of these energies are going to help us do that. So really be mindful, what is hidden and what needs to come to light, and how can I spend some time in quiet contemplation to really dig deeper to see what needs to come to the surface for clarity. So absolutely amazing guides that are here to assist us this week. So really utilize them. They were coming forward very strongly to help us connect, to help us get what we needed out of these current energies and to make the most of them this week. So my friends, that's everything I have for us. I hope you enjoyed this week's reading. And if you did, please let me know. I love hearing your comments. And please remember to subscribe and like my channel. All of that really helps me and helps these readings get out to people who need them. So I'm sending you all so much love and light. Have a beautiful and blessed week, my friends. Bye.